Is Antifa an idea or a domestic terrorist movement? This is the hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin commentary. Here's the truth. Ideas don't smash windows. Ideas don't throw bricks at cops. People do. And when networks of people coordinate under a banner, whether left wing or right wing, they cross into violence. That is not protected speech. That is domestic terrorism and domestic extremism. If you've watched Antifa march through your city, or seen footage from Portland, Seattle, Berkeley, or DC, you know this isn't abstract. It is fear, intimidation, and violence wrapped in a black mask. And yet, the same politicians who demand accountability from one side of the political spectrum excuse it on the other. That double standard is poison to our republic. We cannot let violence masquerade as justice. We cannot let slogans excuse arson. And we cannot let, quote, just an idea blind us to organized networks that terrorize communities. But we also cannot surrender our freedoms to fear. To hold Antifa accountable, we must insist the same rules apply across the board. If the Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, or any other group crosses the line, we must prosecute them. If Antifa crosses the line, we definitely prosecute them. Equal justice under the law, not selective justice, is what keeps our constitutional republic intact. So here's the question you must ask yourself. Do you want a nation where every ideology that slips into violence is excused if it's, quote, your side? Or do you want a nation where the law is applied evenly, protecting your rights regardless of which banner you march under? The choice is ours, and it cannot be delayed, because the streets are already burning. And the longer we refuse to face this truth, the hotter those flames will grow. Now let's cut through the noise. You've heard this excuse 1,000 times. Quote, Antifa is just an idea. But let me ask you this. Since when do ideas smash windows? Since when do ideas torch police cars? Since when do ideas hurl bricks into crowds or blind officers with lasers? That's not an idea. That's action. That's coordination. That's violence. And when groups of people under a banner organize online, file permits to position themselves at rallies, and march together in black bloc uniforms, this and that isn't spontaneous protest. That's a network, and networks with violent intent have a name in the law: domestic extremism. I mean, after all, an idea does not have a uniform. Here's the hypocrisy. If someone waving a MAGA flag or a MAGA hat so much as jaywalks, the media says domestic terrorists. I mean, just look at what Biden was calling us. We were calling us MAGA terrorists. If someone marches under Antifa's flag, smashes businesses, or burns neighborhoods, they shrug and say, it's just an idea. One standard for the right, no standard for the left. That double standard is eating away at the heart of our republic. The Constitution gives us the right to speak, the right to protest, the right to petition our government, but it does not give us or anyone the right to assault others, to burn cities, to terrorize communities in the name of ideology. That is not protest, that is mob rule. And mob rule is exactly what our founders warned against. A republic is fragile. It only survives when the law is applied equally. So when the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, or anyone else on the right crosses the line, they get prosecuted. They get locked up. And they're made an example of. Probably way too many times. So why is Antifa treated as a rumor instead of an organized threat? Why do politicians say with a straight face, it's just an idea, while Americans are picking glass out of their shoes and watching their cities burn? Here's the uncomfortable truth. If Antifa is just an idea, then it's the first idea in history that throws Molotov cocktails and coordinates ambushes. That should tell you something. It's not just an idea. It's a movement. It's a network. And it has turned America's streets into battlegrounds. President Trump's executive order didn't create this reality. It simply acknowledged it. By labeling Antifa what it is, domestic terrorism, he put into writing what so many of us have lived through, what so many of us have seen with our own eyes. Now here's the warning. We cannot stop at rhetoric. Equal justice under the law means equal justice across the board. If Antifa crosses the line into violence, treat them the same way you would treat any extremist. No excuses, no double standards, no political cover, and if groups on the right cross that line as well, you have to hold them accountable too. That is what it means to live in a constitutional republic. I know that idea is not going to make people happy, but that's the truth, folks. Because if we keep pretending Antifa is intangible, if we keep calling it just an idea, then every brick through a window, every smoke bomb in a street, every assault at a rally is being excused as thought instead of action. That's a lie, and lies kill freedom. So the question isn't whether Antifa is real. The question is whether we, the Americans, are willing to confront political violence no matter where it comes from. Do we want a nation where a law applies only to the side we don't like? Or do we want a nation where law protects us all equally no matter which banner we march under? That's the line in the sand. That's the decision in front of us. Because the longer we allow, quote, just an idea to shield organized violence, the closer we drift to losing our liberty. America doesn't survive selective justice. America survives when the truth is spoken, when the law is enforced fairly, and when citizens like you demand accountability. And let's be clear, accountability is not hate. Equal justice is not oppression. Standing up for your rights is not extremism. It is the very heartbeat of our republic. So don't buy the lie. Don't let them call violence an idea, and don't let them excuse destruction as protest. Call it what it is. Confront it for what it is. And never forget, the survival of our republic depends not on slogans, but on courage, clarity, and the will of the people to demand the truth. This is Peter Boykin, and this is the fight to go right. You can check out this article and more on GoRightNews.com.